I want now to look at the very important subject of why it took a whole 3 weeks to publish the evocative last photo of Madeleine. It was on Thursday the 10th of May, a week having gone by since Madeleine was reported missing, that both Jerry and Kate McCann found themselves in Portimao Police Station to face a series of difficult questions. On that occasion, Jerry was detained for 13 hours. His friend, Dr. Matthew Oldfield, was also interviewed that day, and obviously put under great pressure by the police. He was described as almost hysterical in the interview. Jerry McCann heard him shouting and crying. Perhaps he was struggling to explain all the absurdities surrounding his insistence that he really did check on the children at about 9:30 p.m. the night Madeleine was reported missing. That day, the 10th of May, Kate sat in the waiting area for 8 hours before being told that it was too late for her to be interviewed that day. But she also told us this: "I made use of the long wait I anticipated by sitting down with a notebook, pen and my camera containing the dated photographs of the holiday and trying to write a detailed account of everything that had happened the week before." So here she gives a clear indication that, so she says, all her images had a date stamp imprinted on them. She makes sure the word dated is in there. Meanwhile, Jerry McCann, during his police interviews, said apart from those 2 discs that he and Michael Wright had handed in the day before, he had no others in his possession. A number of these pictures featured the Paynes children, so the McCanns must have used a number of photos from the Paynes camera. It's probably reasonable to assume that the 3 playground photographs we saw before were taken by the McCanns, and as we saw earlier, we can say with near certainty that all 3 were taken on day 1 of the holiday, the Saturday. But if that's the case, where are all the other photographs that the McCanns took that week? It was a Canon camera, a Canon PowerShot A620, that was left in the middle of the table in the living room of the McCanns' apartment. And we must assume that when she was holding a camera while Jerry McCann was being interviewed by the police in Portimao on the 10th of May, that was also her Canon camera. It almost looks like a prop. There are very few objects visible in the photograph, and so the camera seems to stand out, almost ostentatiously, as if to say, "Look, our camera, nothing to see here." But as we have seen, there is evidence from the black and white photos on the 2 CDs handed in by Jerry McCann that the images have been tampered with deletions of many of them, and cropping of some others. And let's suppose, as I shall be suggesting later, that something serious happened to Madeleine much earlier in the week, it would be perfectly possible for the McCanns, or someone they knew, to have removed the memory cards, deleted inconvenient photographs, cropped them, or perhaps even removed them altogether and substituted a new memory card. Done all of this before they claimed later in the week that Madeleine had been abducted. They could also have stored the images on a computer disk for later amendments to be made by them. If so, there would be nothing incriminating for the police to find in their camera. It seems that the Portuguese police never seized the camera. There is no mention of their doing so in the files, and they therefore let the McCanns take it away with them as they moved that night after reporting Madeleine missing to stay in the Paynes flat. We can hardly blame the Portuguese police for this unfortunate omission. For a week the McCanns had been insisting that Madeleine had been abducted, aided and abetted by a mighty public relations and media onslaught. These 3 individuals, Jerry McCann, Alex Woolfall and Michael Wright, examined various memory cards for the dual purpose of A. producing 2 CD discs for the Portuguese police, and B. producing images for the mass media. Some of those images had been cropped before they got to the Portuguese police, showing that they had already been digitally altered. All of this demonstrates, without a shadow of a doubt, the potential for manipulation of the memory cards before they were sent to Hampshire Police and before Jerry McCann and Michael Wright handed in their carefully selected photos on those 2 CDs. Inconvenient photographs could easily have been deleted, cropped, or even photoshopped. so as to attempt to confirm the McCann's account of events that week. And what do we make of this part of Jerry's statement on the 10th of May, when Kate was also in the police station, Canon camera in her hand? The witness fully confirms the statements made previously at this police department on the 4th of May 2007, being available to provide any further clarifications. Asked, he clarifies that, apart from the personal photographs already delivered by him to the police authorities after the disappearance of his daughter Madeleine, he has no others in his possession. He adds that it is his wife Kate who usually takes pictures. He does not recall taking any pictures during this holiday at night. This is an outright lie. The photographs on the CDs handed to the police did not include the last photo. But Jerry and Kate still had possession of the last photo taken on the Canon because it was published 2 weeks later on the 24th of May. He told the police a barefaced lie. So this brings me back to the subject of the last photo and whether or not it was taken at 2:29 p.m. on Thursday the 3rd of May, the afternoon of the day Madeleine was reported missing. It appears to be a genuine photograph, taken by Kate McCann on the McCann's Canon camera. This is what Kate McCann says about the last photo in her book. Some images are etched for all time on my brain. Madeleine that lunchtime, Thursday the 3rd of May, is one of them. She was wearing an outfit I'd bought especially for her holiday, a peach-coloured smock top from Gap and some white broderie Anglaise shorts from Monsoon. A small extravagance perhaps, but I'd pictured how lovely she would look in them, and I'd be right. She was striding ahead of Fiona and me, swinging her bare arms to and fro. The weather was a little on the cool side, and I remember thinking I should have brought a cardigan for her, although she seemed oblivious of the trauma, just happy and carefree. I was following her with my eyes, admiring her. I wonder now, the nausea rising in my throat, if someone else was doing the same. We've already noted that on the last photo, Jerry does not look as suntanned as he does by the end of the week. That is one indication that the photo might not have been taken on the Thursday as claimed. Are there any others? Let's look first of all at the way Madeleine is dressed. The most obvious feature is her pretty pink one-piece dress. As one observer remarked, it looks like she is in her Sunday best. What was Madeleine allegedly doing that Thursday morning? It is claimed that on Thursday morning she had been sailing with other members of her group. It seems unlikely that she went to the creche that morning dressed in the pretty pink dress if she was going to go sailing. If she did not, then in order for her to be photographed in the dress at 2:29 p.m, the McCanns must have gone back to their apartment and changed her for the afternoon into that dress. But let's move on to a much more significant area of concern, namely the weather on the day that photograph was taken. If we look at the photograph, we see very short shadows. The sun was at its highest that time of year around 1:35 p.m. The photograph was probably taken within 1 hour of that time. The last photo is said to have been taken at 2:29 p.m. So the shadows, at least, are consistent with what the McCanns say about this photograph. The shadows show us that it was a sunny day at the moment the photo was taken. Let us also consider these 6 points. 1. Jerry McCann is dressed in a t-shirt and shorts. 2. He is wearing sunglasses. 3. There is a sheen of perspiration visible on his forehead. 4. The children are both wearing sun hats. 5. Jerry McCann's feet are in the pool, which Kate described in her book as very cold. 6. There is no obvious sign of any cooling breeze in the picture. Some might say this picture could have been taken in a few moments of sun on an otherwise cloudy day. But with Jerry coming out to the pool with his sunglasses on, in his shorts, and with perspiration on his brow, it is surely likely that this was a very warm day with plenty of sunshine. So how does the weather at the beginning of the McCann's holiday week compare with the weather on Thursday, the day Madeleine was reported missing? Let's have a close look. Here we have a chart showing the weather records for Praia de Luz on the Thursday. We can also see the same weather pattern for the week as a whole if we look at this weather chart. If we look at the top of the chart, we see the temperatures up to 21 degrees C, that's 70 degrees Fahrenheit, on the Saturday and Sunday. Then they fall away for the rest of the week, until once again the temperatures slowly begin to rise again at the end of the week. If we now look at the bottom of the chart, we see that on Saturday and Sunday there is no cloud cover at all, whilst from Monday onwards we see a great deal of cloud. They show that in the Thursday there was about 50% cloud cover from dawn, rising to nearly 100% cloud cover by the early afternoon. The temperature chart shows us that the temperature on Thursday rose from a cool 13 degrees C, 55 Fahrenheit in the morning, to just 17 degrees C, 63 Fahrenheit around midday, when the photo was supposed to have been taken, and then to 19 degrees C, 66 Fahrenheit in the afternoon. This then does not look like a day which is so warm that it causes a man to dress only in a t-shirt and shorts, dipping his feet into a cold pool, to have sweat on his brow. Not only that, but as we saw just now, Kate McCann confirms this with her own words in her book. The weather was a little on the cool side, and I remember thinking I should have brought a cardigan for her. But again, this photograph hardly gives the impression of being a little on the cool side. Sunglasses, people in short sleeves and shorts, sun hats and sweaty brow, dipping their feet in a cold pool. In fact, the only 2 days on that holiday that were hot and sunny were the Saturday and Sunday. If we have a look at the weather chart for Sunday the 29th of April, we see that the maximum temperature after midday reaches 21 degrees C or 70 degrees Fahrenheit, certainly warmer than Thursday. And we also see that the day is sunny throughout, much more like sunglasses and shorts weather. One well-respected Madeleine McCann researcher, a retired former police superintendent, has collected dated photographs to show exactly how the weather changed on the Monday of that week. Here are 3 photographs taken from almost the same place on Saturday, Sunday and Monday respectively. Here is another picture taken on Sunday at nearby Lagos, a beautiful, clear, sunny day, just as the weather on the last photograph also appears to be. The following 3 pictures, taken on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, continue to show the cooler, cloudier weather persisting through the week. The change from the sunny weather of Saturday and Sunday to the cloudier, cooler, wetter airstream which reached the Algarve during the Monday is clear. Compared with the photographs we saw earlier from Sunday, the photos from Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday all show a much greater amount of cloud cover and evidence of a cooling wind. An ex-RAF man, now an expat living in Praia de Luz, kept daily weather records. His diary confirms the cloudier, windy, cooler conditions that prevailed on that Thursday when the last photo was supposed to have been taken. As most of you watching this film will be aware, there are hundreds, indeed thousands of people who discuss the disappearance of Madeleine McCann in depth on various websites, forums and blogs. Some of these people are experts in their field, and I'm going to now quote from one of them, a retired former police superintendent who has studied the case in depth and even written an e-book on the case, available on Kindle. This is part of his professional opinion on the last photo. On the first full day of a family holiday, children and adults are dressed in their new holiday clothes. Everyone goes out to explore the resort. They look at the pool, find the supermarket, and generally get their bearings. And above all, if it is a fine sunny day, they take photos of the area, of the pool, of new and unaccustomed flowers and plants, cactuses, bougainvillea, and they take lots of photographs of their children, because you never know when it might turn cloudy or rain. Add this known behaviour to the weather reports and consider these existing photographs, and then add the relative ease with which the date can be altered on a digital image, and we may surely be forgiven for beginning to suspect that the last photo is not as it is being presented. Both Saturday and Sunday, the only 2 warm and sunny days that week, seem the probable days on which the last photo was taken, but the McCanns and their friends did not arrive in Praia de Luz until 3 p.m. on the Saturday, which rules out that day. We are forced by the available evidence to deduce that the last photograph was probably taken at lunchtime on Sunday the 29th of April. Moreover, the retired former police officer goes on to make these very valid points. Again, I quote, "If, and only if this is correct, it gives rise to some serious concerns. The last photo may be a forgery. In English law, a forgery is any document that tells a lie about itself. It purports to be something it is not. In this case, a photo taken on Thursday the 3rd of May, the day Madeleine was reported missing. If the EXIF metadata showing the time and date had been altered, then a serious offence has been committed of attempting to pervert the course of justice. The person who altered the time and date would be involved. Any person who says it was taken on that date would also be involved. Any person who handled the photograph, the camera, or the memory chip might be involved. The person who knowingly put this photograph into the public domain would very clearly be involved, and jointly they might all be guilty of conspiracy to pervert the course of justice. So the question to be asked is clear. Where was Madeleine at lunchtime on the 3rd of May 2007? I have examined the last photo, the one on the McCann Files website, myself. McCann Files is the best known and best used internet library on the case. I discovered that the internet file on the McCann Files website has been modified with a computer package called Adobe Lightroom. Lightroom is certainly capable of changing the metadata, but this doesn't prove much. It may have been loaded into Adobe Lightroom and saved before it was received by McCann Files. What I can say, however, is that changing the date on a digital camera image file can certainly be done easily in the hands of someone familiar with digital camera technology. If someone wanted to alter the metadata on some of the photographs on their camera, they would normally have to go to someone familiar with how to do it, a camera expert. So, how and when was the last photo released to the general public? This appears to be the sequence of events. Thursday the 3rd of May, date Madeleine was reported missing. The last photo was presumably on the Canon memory card. McCanns decide to issue a photo of Madeleine taken about a year ago. Several other photos are released to the media in the next few days. Sunday the 20th of May, Jerry McCann flies to England. During his visit, he was obliged to obtain any item from his house with Madeleine's DNA on it. He found a pillow, and Leicestershire police took a swab of DNA from it. Monday the 21st of May, meetings in London. On the Monday, he had extensive meetings with top British police officers and with Jim Gamble, the head of the Child Exploitation and Online Protection Centre. Those meetings are not really the subject of this film, but they are a topic I hope to return to in the future. Tuesday the 22nd of May. Jerry McCann says he met Tony Blair's chief media spinner Clarence Mitchell, the head of the media monitoring unit at the Central Office of Information, for the first time. Later that day they travelled to Portugal together. Also on Tuesday the 22nd of May, on the very same day, Jerry McCann's sister, Philomena McCann, also flew to Portugal to join the McCanns there. She had left her home in Ullapool, Scotland, and flown from Glasgow Airport to Portugal to join her brother, Jerry McCann. Now that might be significant because her husband, Tony Rickwood, is a camera expert and highly experienced photographer and photoshopper. His photoshopping work came to light on the DeviantArt website, which hosts all kinds of unusual and deviant digital art and photography. In Rickwood's case, some of his pictures were produced as a result of his fetish for what is called quicksand fetish art, that is, photoshopped pictures of women, sometimes naked, drowning in water, mud or quicksand. I pose this question. Whilst Jerry McCann was back in England from the Sunday to Tuesday that week, could he have met with or communicated with his sister Philomena McCann and her photoshopping husband Tony Rickwood, given him the memory card from the Canon camera, or sent them a copy of the original file, and asked him to simply alter the date the last photo was taken? Thursday the 24th of May. The last photo was released to the public via the Press Association. The last photo, however, was not amongst the mainly black and white photos on the 2 discs handed to the Portuguese police by Jerry McCann and Michael Wright. Why ever not? Why did they mislead the Portuguese police by not showing them this photograph? Why was it not used to produce those very first pictures of Madeleine that were released? And why did it take 3 weeks to release it? Why was it only released barely 24 hours after both Jerry McCann and his sister with the photoshopping husband arrived by plane in Portugal late on Tuesday evening, the 22nd of May? And so, finally, I ask, is 2:29 p.m. on Thursday the 3rd of May, the date Madeleine was reported missing, the true time that photograph was taken or not? So, having examined a variety of evidence, including the high possibility that the last photo was taken on Sunday, and it seems to me there are no confirmed photos of Madeleine being alive after Sunday, what other evidence do we have, if any, that Madeleine was alive for the rest of the week? The evidence can be summed up as follows. 1. The evidence of the McCanns. 2. The evidence of their tapas 7 friends. 3. The evidence of third parties, such as staff of the Ocean Club and other guests there that week. 4. The evidence of Mrs. Pamela Fenn, a lady who lived in a flat above the McCanns, who said she heard crying between 10:30 p.m. and 11:45 p.m. on Tuesday the 1st of May. And 5. The creche records, which purport to show that Madeleine attended the creche every day that week. On the face of it, even though some of the other evidence that she was alive after Sunday that we have looked at has not stood up to scrutiny, this appears to be an impressive list of evidence. But let's examine just how impressive it is. I'm going to focus first of all on the evidence of third parties that week. Then I'm going to look at some interesting aspects of the McCanns' conduct that week. I'll start by examining in detail the third party most closely involved with Madeleine that week, and that's the creche nanny Catriona Baker, or Cat Baker, the nanny in charge of the creche which included Madeleine, called the Lobster Group. This group met in a small room on the first floor of the main Ocean Club reception. It was for a small group of children aged between 3 and 5. Their names were Jessica B., Alexander M., Madeleine McCann, Elizabeth N., Ella O'Brien, daughter of Russell O'Brien and Jane Tanner, Tia P., and William T. So just 7 children, 2 of whom highlighted were Madeleine and Ella, the daughter of Jane Tanner and Russell O'Brien. Creche nannies are usually hired from many countries for the season. In Cat Baker's case, in one statement, she says she had many years' experience, and in another, just that she'd been employed by Mark Warner at the Ocean Club in the 2006 season. She was engaged again in 2007 from Saturday the 21st of April, just 1 week before the McCanns and their group of friends arrived. It seems she made a simple mistake earlier by saying she was contracted from the 21st of March. She was only 20 years old in 2007 and had apparently studied at an English university for a period. In her book, Kate McCann describes how she was introduced to Cat Baker the first afternoon they arrived. Kate says, "I warmed to her straight away." To enrol, parents take their children to the creche. Details are recorded: name of child, parent's name, contact telephone number, any health concerns such as asthma or allergies, etc. The child is then given an identity bracelet and placed in a specific group with a specific nanny. The maximum size of any group is 7. Which any nanny receives a child on day 1 remains the child's nanny for the rest of the week. There are 2 3-hour creche sessions from 9:30 till 12:30 and 2:30 till 5:30. The nanny who is responsible for the child is also responsible for the register. Mark Warner stipulates that parents must sign the children in and out of the creche, giving the time of day they have done so. Madeleine was in Kat Baker's Lobsters group, so the lobster creche records were obtained by the police after Madeleine was reported missing. This is what they look like. If we take these records at face value, then they tell us that Madeleine was in the creche for the following periods: Sunday morning 9:45 till 12:15, afternoon 2:45 till 5:30, total of 5¼ hours. Monday morning 9:30 till 12:10, afternoon 3:15 to 3:30, total of 2 hours and 55 minutes. Tuesday morning 9:30 to 12:20, afternoon Madeleine was left at the creche at 2:30 p.m, no time of collection shown. Wednesday morning 9:20 till 12:30, afternoon 2:45 to 5:30, total 4 hours and 55 minutes. Thursday morning 9:10 to 12:25, afternoon 2:50 to 5:30, total 4 hours and 55 minutes. Let's now have a closer look at Kat Baker. On the 14th of October 2007, just 5 weeks after the McCanns had been declared suspects, and the McCann team's PR efforts were at their most intense, the Mail on Sunday ran a story headed "Revealed, the nanny who could help clear the McCanns' name." The article told us, for 5 months, the identity of the Mark Warner employee who was looking after Madeleine in Pride of Luzz's Kids Club in the hours before her disappearance has been a closely held secret. On the morning after Madeleine's disappearance, it is believed she even told Portuguese police of a man she had seen acting suspiciously around the apartments. Today we can reveal her identity as 20-year-old Catriona Baker, the daughter of a nurse and draftsman from Manchester. Miss Baker has told friends she is convinced of the McCann's innocence. She is still in contact with Kate McCann. Intriguingly, Miss Baker revealed to one friend, spoken to by this newspaper, that she told Portuguese police of a man she saw acting strangely near the apartment in the days leading up to Madeleine's disappearance on the 3rd of May. She was interviewed for just 3 hours by the police on the morning of Madeleine's disappearance. The Mail on Sunday has also learned that within 24 hours of that interview, Miss Baker was dispatched by Mark Warner to take up a new post in the Greek resort of San Agostino, along with 4 other members of staff. They were all linked to the 7 holidaymakers who had eaten in the resort's tapas restaurant with Kate and Jerry on the night of Madeleine's disappearance. On the day Madeleine disappeared, Miss Baker had spent nearly 6 hours with the toddler. In the afternoon, the McCanns played tennis, while Madeleine went back to her nanny at the children's club, who gave her tea at 5:30 p.m. Madeleine, Sean and Amelie were picked up by their parents at 6 p.m. The Mail on Sunday article states as a fact that the McCanns played tennis, while Madeleine went back to her nanny at the children's club, who gave her tea at 5:30 p.m. Madeleine, Sean and Amelie were picked up by their parents at 6 p.m. But earlier I explained that there were so many contradictions about the claim that Madeleine and the twins and their parents were having high tea together that we could not rely on those accounts as proving that Madeleine was alive at that time. And Kate's later story was not that she was playing tennis, but that she went for a long run along the beach. Let's also observe that in this statement in the Mail on Sunday, it sweeps aside all the McCann's evidence, contradictory though it was, about picking up the children at 5:25 p.m. and 5:30 p.m. We saw how Kate claimed that Jerry had got there before Kate, and that she had come to the high tea straight from her long jog along the beach, etc., etc. The Kat Baker article contradicts all of that by simply saying the parents, plural, picked her up at 6 p.m.